The city was a corpse tonight. I stood under a flickering street lamp, the air thick with late summer humidity. I'd missed the last train, a mistake from too many drinks with an old friend. The silence was a living thing, pressing in on me. My phone glowed with the promise of an Uber, a car 3 minutes away. The app pinged. Your driver Elias is arriving now. A black sedan materialized, headlights cutting through the gloom. It looked too perfect, like a hearse. I shook the thought away. Just a ride home. I slid onto the cool leather of the back seat, the door closing with a solid thud. The air inside was cold, smelling faintly of lemon cleaner. I mumbled my address. Elias just nodded. He didn't turn around, just a dark shape in the rearview mirror. Then we were moving, pulling into the empty street. The city was sleeping, but something felt off. I just wanted to get home. The driver, Elias, sat motionless, as if carved from stone. He was a statue behind the wheel, his hands resting perfectly still, his posture rigid and unmoving, as if he'd been waiting there for hours before I even entered the car. He hadn't said a word since I got in, his silence pressing down on the car like a heavy blanket, smothering any attempt at comfort or conversation. In the rearview mirror, I caught fleeting glimpses of him, his face half lit by the dashboard's glow, always watching, always present. His eyes were dark hollows, deep and impossible to read, like looking into a well at midnight. No hint of emotion, just endless shadow. I cleared my throat, trying to break the tension. Quiet night, I managed, my voice sounding small and uncertain in the hush. He responded with a grunt, a low, almost inhuman sound that seemed to vibrate in the air, making me question if he'd even heard me. I tried to relax, but his stare was relentless, unblinking, as if he was waiting for something, or someone, to make a wrong move. It felt like he was dissecting me with his gaze, peeling back layers I didn't know I had, searching for secrets I didn't want to share. My heart beat faster, my skin prickling with unease, every muscle tensed as if bracing for something unseen. The car itself was immaculate, too perfect, too clean, as if it had never truly been lived in, or as if someone had scrubbed away every trace of the past. No personal effects, no clutter, just a single small dark stain on the floor mat, the only imperfection in an otherwise sterile world. I told myself it was spilled coffee, but the thought didn't comfort me. My mind raced with other possibilities, each one darker than the last. The GPS displayed our route, its glowing screen a small anchor of normalcy in the darkness, a reminder that there was a destination, an end to this ride. The robotic voice of the navigation system was the only other sound, its monotone direction slicing through the silence, oddly comforting in their predictability. But as we drove, I started to notice more oddities, small details that didn't fit, each one adding to my growing sense of dread. The driver's hands gripped the wheel tightly, encased in black leather gloves that gleamed in the dim light. Who wears gloves to drive in August? The air was warm, yet his hands were hidden, the image jarring and out of place. The gloves were just another piece of the puzzle, another unsettling detail in a night full of them. The silence stretched on, growing thinner and more fragile with every passing second, as if it might shatter at any moment. I felt trapped in a sterile, anonymous space, surrounded by darkness and uncertainty, longing for the safety of home. The feeling of being watched, of being prey, was overwhelming, a primal fear that made me want to disappear into the seat. I just wanted to get home, to escape this car that felt more like a shadow than a vehicle, and leave Elias and his silence far behind. The robotic voice chirped again, slicing through the quiet hum of the car's engine. "Turn left onto Commonwealth Avenue," it instructed, the words glowing on the screen like a beacon in the darkness. This was my route, the familiar path home, but the car didn't turn. Instead, we glided right past the intersection, the blinker never even flickering. It continued straight, deeper into a neighborhood of dark warehouses, where the city's lights faded and the streets grew emptier. My heart lurched in my chest. "You missed the turn," I said, my voice trembling just enough to betray my unease. The driver didn't respond. He just kept driving, eyes fixed on the road ahead, as if he hadn't heard me at all. The GPS screen flickered, now showing our car floating in a gray void, the map's details swallowed by static and uncertainty. We were off the map, the city replaced by a labyrinth of shadows and silent, hulking buildings. Every turn seemed to lead us deeper into the unknown. I fumbled for my phone, thumb hovering over emergency assistance, my mind racing with worst-case scenarios. But then I caught his eyes in the mirror. They held me captive, a glint of amusement dancing in their depths, as if he was enjoying my fear. He knew I was scared. It was a game to him, a twisted kind of entertainment. My instincts screamed at me, every detail in the car suddenly a glaring red flag I couldn't ignore. The silence, the unblinking stare, the gloves gripping the wheel, the deliberate wrong turn, each one adding to my growing terror. Together, they wove a tapestry of pure terror, wrapping around me tighter with every passing second. I was trapped in a box of steel and glass, every exit locked, every option slipping away. The fear was a cold knot in my stomach, tightening with every mile we drove away from safety. I tried to reason with myself, to believe this was just a mistake, but it was no use. The dread was overwhelming. The city I knew had vanished, replaced by something alien and hostile, a place where help felt impossibly far away. I was being taken somewhere I did not want to go, every instinct telling me to run. But there was nowhere to run. All I wanted was to get home, to escape this nightmare and feel safe again. But home had never felt so far away. My breath hitched in my throat. I glanced at the door handle, my only hope. But the car was moving too fast, the risk of injury high. The driver flowed through intersections, a ghost car in a ghost city. The world outside was a blur, the city's pulse flatlined. I was alone with a man who was as still as stone. My phone was a beacon of hope, but his eyes held me captive. The threat was implied, hanging in the air. He communicated through silence. "You are helpless." The fear was paralyzing, a venom in my veins. The smell of decay grew stronger, the stain on the floor mat pulsed. Was I just another passenger in a long line? The thought was insane, but it felt real. I was trapped in a nightmare, a rolling tomb. The driver was a collector, and I was his latest prize. I just wanted to get home. The silence was a heavy blanket, smothering the car. I was trapped in a box of steel and glass. We drove for what felt like an eternity, the city lights slowly dissolving behind us, swallowed by the night. The industrial park gave way to a narrow, unlit road, the hum of factories replaced by a suffocating silence. The city was gone, replaced by primal darkness, as if we had crossed an invisible border into another world. The moon was hidden, the only light from the car's headlights, slicing through the blackness like a lifeline. This was a place where people disappeared, where stories ended and were never told again. The GPS was dead, admitting defeat, its screen blank and useless, as if even technology refused to guide us here. We were truly lost, in a place technology couldn't map, surrounded by the unknown, every landmark erased by darkness. The driver navigated with confidence, as if he belonged to this darkness, as if this was his destination all along. This wasn't a shortcut, it was a plan, a deliberate detour into the heart of nowhere. I had to do something, the paralysis of fear giving way to a desperate urge to survive, adrenaline flooding my veins. I looked at the door handle, calculating my chances, knowing it was now or never. I moved my hand, heart pounding, fingers brushing the handle, every muscle tensed for escape. A click broke the silence, sharp and final. The driver pressed the central lock, sealing my fate. I was locked in, my escape route gone, the car transformed into a moving prison. The knowledge was a cage. The game was over before it began, and panic clawed at my chest. The car slowed, a faint light ahead flickering like a distant hope or a warning. We were arriving, reaching the quiet place where secrets are kept and the world forgets. The car turned onto a dirt track, branches scraping the sides like skeletal fingers, the sound unnerving in the silence. This was it, the end of the line, the point of no return. My mind went blank, wiped clean by terror, as the darkness outside pressed in, and the true meaning of fear settled over me. The click of the lock echoed, a sound of finality. I was trapped, staring at the back of the driver's head. Who was this man? What did he want? The car continued into the woods, a steel cage. Then he spoke, his voice soft and raspy. "You're scared," he said, not a question. The voice was calm, terrifying. I can feel it. It's like a perfume. My voice was a whisper. "Where are you taking me?" He chuckled. "Home. We're going to a better place." The radio crackled to life, static and whispers. The driver began to hum, a discordant melody. He was humming with the voices in the static. The driver wasn't just silent, he was insane. The car was a universe of fear. It's God, the humming man. My mind raced, searching for a weapon, an escape. I just wanted to get home. The silence was a heavy blanket, smothering the car. The humming grew louder, a grotesque lullaby. I pressed myself back, trying to disappear. The car was a universe of fear, its god, the humming man. My mind raced, searching for a weapon, an escape. He stopped humming, spoke again. I used to pick up people like you. Little lambs, separated from the flock. The casual cruelty of his words stole my breath. He was a collector, and I was his latest prize. I had to try the door. My hand shot out, pulling the handle. Nothing. The lock held firm. A sob escaped my lips, his eyes alight with glee. The car slowed, a faint light ahead. We were arriving, reaching the quiet place. The car turned onto a dirt track, branches scraping the sides. This was it, the end of the line. My mind went blank, wiped clean by terror. I just wanted to get home. The silence was a heavy blanket, smothering the car. I was trapped in a box of steel and glass. The fear was a cold knot in my stomach. The car stopped in a muddy clearing. A single bulb cast a sickly glow over a nightmare scene. A dilapidated shack, a rusty shovel, the smell of rot. This was his workshop, his abattoir. The humming started again, low and eager. He killed the engine, silence deafening. He was going to get out, open my door. I couldn't let that happen. It was now or never. Adrenaline surged, burning away paralysis. I looked around, eyes falling on my phone. It wasn't a weapon, but it was heavy. I gripped it tightly. The driver's door opened. I didn't wait. I acted. With a scream, I launched myself over the seats. I landed half in the driver's seat, half on the console. He turned, face a mask of surprise. I swung the phone, connecting with a crunch. He stumbled back. I scrambled into the driver's seat. I found the door handle, pulled it, tumbled out. I ran into the woods, away from the light, away from the humming man. I ran blindly, crashing through the undergrowth. Behind me, his shout echoed, spurring me on. I ran until my lungs burned, collapsing at a tree base. I was alone, lost, but alive. Dawn filtered through the canopy, a sliver of hope. I found the road. A logging truck stopped for me. The driver, a kind man, took me to the police. They listened, but my story was a nightmare jumble. No license plate, no real name, no location. They searched, found nothing. The ride was over, but the journey was not. It's been a week. I don't sleep much. I dream of dark roads, the sound of static. I see his eyes in every mirror. I've sold my car, take the bus now. The city feels different, menacing. The experience left a scar, a psychological wound. I escaped the car, but a part of me is trapped in that ride, listening for the click of a lock, a whispering voice. I just wanted to get home.